Hey, what is going on with y'all, man? It is Black Balloon, and I'm coming back with another video, so y'all already know what's going on. Alright, y'all. Now, the other day, I was a little bored, and I was listening to an interview that's about 6 or 7 months old with Charleston White and Lil Yachty, right? Now, a specific piece of that interview kind of went viral, made its way around the internet. It was basically about children and resources and, social media. And Charleston White was telling Lil Yachty that he was rich and he was out of touch with reality and, what kids actually face in real life. And the fact that they don't have resources, right? Or they don't have the things that people with money think they have resources to. They may have a lot of access to certain things with the internet today, but they don't have the resources that people believe they have, right? Very, very interesting, which we're going to get to that clip. But it also made me venture down a little bit more stuff with Charleston White. And I found some stuff where he was talking about, trafficking with kids and stuff. And y'all know that's kind of what we've been on a lot lately with the videos, right? The topics that I've chosen for about the last 4 or 5 videos have kind of centered around that. And I thought it was very interesting because I never heard him talk about or be aware of trafficking with kids and so on, right? There's also a recent interview that he did about the LA fires. And, he kind of talked about a little bit of the trafficking thing with the LA fires as well, because it's been mentioned a lot, as we discussed in part 1 when we talked about the LA fires. So in this video, I want to throw in a couple of clips from Charleston White, and it's pretty much centered around the topics we've been doing on the channel lately. Thought it was very interesting because, every time we show some clips from Charleston White on the channel, I like to choose the things that he actually makes sense on. And, regardless of how it comes out his mouth, a lot of it is very, very true. And I'm sure y'all will agree with some of the stuff that he is about to say. So in this video, we'll basically get a little bit more going on about the LA fires. And we're also going to talk about more with saving the kids. And definitely going to show a piece of that clip from the interview that he did with Lil Yachty, because I thought that was very interesting. And so without me talking too much in this intro, y'all, we'll go ahead and jump into the first clip of this video. Then we're going to come back and talk about it a little bit more. Check this out.
You did the Say Cheese interview, and you said something where you said ever since Nipsey died, PNB Rock, there's been a dark cloud over L.A., and literally a dark cloud has come over L.A. Yeah. As you just spoke on the fires. I got to get your take on it because
everybody in L.A. probably go to hell. Yeah, them some up people out there. Yeah, I think L.A. is like Sodom and Gomorrah, where God told, what was that, Noah's wife, told the spirit of one of them, can you just find me 10 good people and I won't burn this down. God told one of them, just go out there and find me 10 good people and I won't burn it down. He couldn't find 10 good people. Them niggas was, man. That's a wicked place because that's where Hollywood is. Not only is Hollywood there with the child, what they well known to have done to kids and do to children. Not only that, that's where black on black crime originated from. Killing. Nobody have killed more black people than the gang terror. Man, the gangs done put more black people in the ground, nigga, than slavery, Jim Crow, and the Ku Klux Klan.
Now this is happening in a higher end part of town where Diddy's mansion, you hear all these celebrity mansions.
Yeah. It's burning from the top down.
Do you feel this is biblical?
I know it's biblical, but it's very much biblical. Nigga, God promised the world that he wasn't gonna flood this motherfucker. He gonna burn it. This motherfucker gonna be destroyed by fire. Nigga, that's God said this gonna be destroyed by fire. So between the fires in LA and the fire coming out that gun and the fire from dropping bombs, this is being destroyed. Gunfire, wildfires, and army, this bitch is being,
Recovery of this LA fire, Biden has promised everyone who's affected by the fire $770.
And they sent billions to Ukraine. Nigga, they been sending nigga $50 billion package. Man, yeah, man.
Well, yeah, I gotta say, can $770 take them?
And they done sent a lot of money to Israel.
Yeah.
Man, $700 ain't shit in California.
Right, California.
Man, $700 ain't shit in California. And I just saw on the news that nigga, they price gouging on rent now. Governor Newsom put a law into place that the Attorney General was speaking of, saying that they can't go up on rent during disasters, but the people still going up on rent anyway. Californians don't own California no more. Nah, that land is owned by other people. So you can't make me believe that these fires aren't set for future land development. That they're intentionally setting this place on fire so they can rebuild whatever it is they want to rebuild for land development.
Yeah, one company is getting sued right now. The first lawsuit has filed for one company for quote unquote starting the fire. Do you feel the fires?
I seen Benjamin Crump, fat tongue ass, them don't through the people, the father, the company. Yeah, I see that motherfucker. He always trying to sue, and you ain't never seen that nigga in court nowhere. But I think the chicken's coming home to roost in L.A. And yeah, I think that's why they're burning up. That's an evil place, homie. That's that's an evil place, homie. And I think it should burn down. Yeah, I think Los Angeles, California should burn to the ground.
Like a cleansing? Or?
Yeah, like a cleansing. Ain't nothing good coming out of L.A., nigga. Ain't nothing good happening in L.A., nigga. That's an evil place. How else can you get rid of the gang culture? How else can you get rid of all them sick in Hollywood that done destroyed so many people's lives? That's just the shit that we possibly know they done. Just imagine the shit they get away from. Why you think God allowing that motherfucker to burn like that? This is uncontrollable wind. They got them timbers. This is some shit. Why you think God allowing that shit to happen? And it ain't happening nowhere else on earth.
It won't stop.
Yeah, on earth.
Come on.
Yeah, they make life on earth for just regular people in California, so they reaping.
Now, I thought that clip was very interesting, y'all. And, for obvious reasons, because he spoke about the LA fires being biblical, which when it happened immediately, a lot of people thought that. A lot of people still think it. Even I still think it myself. We all know God has very mysterious ways that we will never understand on how he chooses to use people, on how he chooses to use evil people, how he chooses to use evil in general so his will can prevail. We all know that God has very mysterious ways. And this could have been one of those ways. God used these people to set those fires and let it burn the way that it did. Now, he related LA and Hollywood to Sodom and Gomorrah. A lot of people relate the entire country to Sodom and Gomorrah, as in America. And he had it, slightly wrong. In the Bible, God told Abraham that if he could find 10 righteous people in the city of Sodom and Gomorrah, God would not destroy the city. Now, you can find that verse in Genesis. Abraham was pleading for the city and because his nephew Lot lived in that city. It started as, if I can find you 50 righteous people, will you spare the entire city for their sake? And so he just kept going down and down and down. 40 people, can I find 35 people? If I can find 30 people, and it went down to the last, if you can find just 10 people who are righteous, I will not burn this city. Now, obviously, couldn't find a single soul that was righteous in that city, and it was burned. So that is what, Charleston White was relating L.A., Hollywood to Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Because we know the things that they get away with there, the things that they have done, some of the most evil stuff that you can find. Is a lot of it started there with trafficking, with rituals, sacrifices, to live and die in L.A., especially with these celebrities. So I thought that was very interesting. And we all know, if you're believers in God, you know that God promised to never flood the world again, that he would burn it by fire. What I thought was the most interesting, and this might have been one of the most profound things I've heard Charleston White say, was, the world is already, in a sense, on fire and being destroyed. by literal fire, like what's happening in LA. And I think another fire has started recently, like the Hughes fire or whatever they named it. He also said gunfire. Now that immediately caught my attention, right? And, he also talked about bombs and war and stuff like that. We all know that could very well destroy everything. But he talked about gunfire. I thought that was very, very interesting, y'all. Because I feel like in a time that we live in now, we are seeing the most murder by gun violence we've ever seen in our lifetimes. Including our parents, I think we are witnessing the most gun violence we've ever seen. A lot of kids, a lot of young teens, a lot of people are being killed by gunfire. And could that be another way that, God is allowing this to set ablaze on this country, on the entire world? People are literally dying by fire, by gunfire. I thought that was just very interesting because I've never heard anyone put it like that. And it may be one of the reasons why we're seeing an increase in people dying by the gun. Now, we already know, you live by the gun, you die by the gun. We already know that. You shed another man's blood, more than likely, your blood will be shed by another man. That's also in Genesis. God knows that will happen to you. You choose to take another person's life, your life is 95% chance someone else is going to take your life. Blood for blood. It's going to happen. That's the route you want to choose. I thought that was very interesting. It also takes me to the only vision I've ever had in my life. God allowed me to see the world on fire. This was years ago. This was before I started a YouTube channel. I rarely tell people the story. If y'all remember way back in my channel when I kind of first started, I used to talk about it a little bit. But I rarely tell people, I don't tell people that I meet or, if I'm just having a conversation. I don't really tell a lot of people unless, the situation calls for it. I don't want to feel like, someone's just taking me just saying this like, oh, I saw the world on fire, and it just goes in and out of someone's ears, right? It was a real vision. It wasn't a dream. I wasn't in that dream state where it's dreamy and you feel like you're trying to run, but you can't run. No, I was there. Everything was dark. It was black. I couldn't look to the left. I couldn't look to the right. I couldn't look behind me. All I could do was stand there and look straight. I couldn't even see my own body. It was as if like my conscience was just there. Completely aware though, and it was pitch black. And what was in front of me was a giant ball full of fire. And I took that for one thing and one thing only. That was the world on fire. And I took it as, hey, maybe this was like a call to me to get my life together, because this was at a time in life where I was, sin on top of sin on top of sin, doing everything wrong, nothing right. I wasn't living right at all. There wasn't an ounce of me that was living right. Was I aware of God? Did I believe in God? Yes, of course. Did I know God the way I know God today? No, not at all. But I took it for two ways. God showed me the earth being on fire, and I took it as I need to get myself right, or that's going to be me as well. Rather that's my soul roasting on fire in eternity, whatever you take that to mean. But I don't like to tell the story too much. I don't like to tell a lot of people I had that vision, just because I want you to take me serious, because I'm not just making up something just so it can go with this video. I wouldn't even lie on God giving me a vision like that. I would never just make that up just so it can sound good and you can get your life right. No, that's not the case. It's not a vision I'm trying to sell that God gave me. I'm not trying to sell it, but it's real. It's very real. And I can remember it like it happened last night. And it was in my sleep. I can remember it like it happened last night, y'all. And it's real. It's very real. It will be torched when it's all said and done.
Because kids are young and impressionable. Why you think you say, Mommy, I want this. I want to get this, Mommy, because they showed you on television to get it. Why you think drill music became such a phenomenon? Those was kids.
I think drill music became popular because white people and all kids fantasize with things that they will never do in life.
But here's the thing: when I'm talking to the kids at the white alternative school, they not telling me about the rapping shit. They mostly dealing with drugs.
They still love rap music.
But they not killing though. They dealing with drugs. Right. I come over here with these kids. These kids facing life for killing. See the difference? I'm over here with the Latin King kids. Yeah. They down by law too, but they really getting in trouble for pushing dope, robbing. I come over here with the black kid, nigga. They killing.
More aggressive. I think it's more egotistical.
It's the culture. The culture's more aggressive.
And egotistical.
No, the culture's not egotistical.
Well,
because it's hard to be egotistical when your mama barely feeding you. That's why you more aggressive and
I think that's back in the day. I feel like kids nowadays just got so much more resources and money.
No, they don't, homie. If you look at the starvation statistics in America, more kids will go hungry in America than anywhere in the world. More kids are eating at school than they are at home. I don't know what resources you talking about more kids have.
Well, I'm just talking about right now in current society. If you look on social media, I'm not in there.
But see, you speaking from social media,
right? That's all I can speak on.
Community, the schools, the kids. See, I'm not up here with y'all, homie. I'm trying to climb up here. So the things that I'm saying, I'm bringing from the bottom to y'all up here. You saying, well, homie, most kids don't have resources.
Well, I'm just speaking on
even on social media
problems.
because social media is a facade. You never see somebody on social media say, boy, these my last $2 right here. They go come show you when they got their 500. You never see nobody on social media say, man, here go the disconnect notice, man. I got to pay these light bill by Friday. I'm 2 months behind. Social media show you the happy side. But if you look at the real statistics, homie, kids don't have a lot of resources.
So you don't think with the internet, kids don't have more resources?
No.
I think they have more access, but not resources.
When you say more resources, resources like what?
You make resources.
You make the resources. But how? When you look and see most kids aren't creating content. So how do they have resources?
Well, I mean, it just depends on what you want to do in life.
But how do you know what you want to do when you don't have a developed brain? You're talking about an undeveloped brain, and you're dealing with trauma and impoverished conditions. Your mama might be on drugs, your uncle might be molested, and your dad in prison. Those numbers are way bigger than what you think.
That's a fucked up situation.
How long you been rich, nigga?
8 years.
You've lost touch with reality. You must ain't got no poor nigga cousin.
Well, I won't disagree.
Yeah, you lost touch with reality.
I tell them all the time.
If you think kids have resources.
I tell them all the time.
What you say?
I tell them all the time.
You tell me what? You just as lost as me.
So we ain't never had this conversation. Like I said, no mattress. I just slept on 8 different comforters. You feel me? No pillow.
8 different comforters is not that bad. That's not bad. 8. You know how
you see what I say when I say
is?
disconnected? You know what I'm saying?
What? What?
As you speak from your fucking custom-made bed.
You try to say it, but you ain't nowhere different than me. It ain't like you at the schools talking to kids every Monday through Thursday.
But you see where my frustration come from when I come to the internet. Fuck you, bitch ass nigga. Nigga, I don't give a fuck about no dead ass rapper. When I just buried a 15-year-old kid talking like the dead rapper. And come to find out, everybody who look like they got money on social media, ain't nobody got no money.
Right.
This nigga just was showing $5,000. He in jail for a robbery and he can't make bond. This nigga just was showing $20,000 and his mama selling plates to bury him. 100%. But this nigga got all the Louis shoes. And now when he just got killed, his mama got a GoFundMe begging to bury this nigga. But online it look like they got money.
Now, after that part of the interview, I didn't really have any interest to continue listening. One, because if you actually watch it and look at, Lil Yachty reactions and his demeanor toward what Charleston is talking about, he doesn't really care. He doesn't really understand it. He's, I guess pretty young himself. I think Yachty may be mid-20s or something like that, late 20s, not really sure. But he doesn't really get it. Like he said, you've been out of touch with reality for a very long time. You can tell he still doesn't even care. He's Charleston telling them straight facts, and he still doesn't really care. You'd have to watch it to really see his demeanor, but you could tell by his responses, he doesn't really care. You know, when you're that rich, when you're that deep into the industry, you've done whatever you've done to get where you at. You know, reality of children and the things that they go through to try to be like you don't really think about. You know, and that's basically what Charleston was trying to tell him, that these kids do not have the resources you think they have just because you are rich and you see that kids can go on the internet and get famous, blah, blah, blah. You know, everyone think they made it, think they got money, when in reality, they don't have shit. You know, we already know these things that people make it seem like they have everything in the world on the internet, but in all reality, they don't have a thing. Now, what made me get into like another clip that I have to show about, you know, kids and trafficking and so on, was when Charleston was like, at first he said, you know, how can you be egotistical when your mama not even feeding you? You know, I thought that was real. He also was talking about, you know, how can kids know what they want to do in life, or how can they have the resources to do certain things when, one, brains aren't developed, so they don't really know what they want in life. He said, number two, your dad's in jail, your uncle molesting you, you're living in impoverished conditions. So there's all kind of factors in your environment that keeps you from even accessing those resources, or even if you have them, you end up screwing it up anyway because your life and your family is so messed up. But one thing that caught my mind was him saying your uncle, you know, is molesting you, because, you know, a lot of the times in the black community, or, you know, just in general, it's these little kids' uncles that are molesting them. You know, the mom, new boyfriend, or so on and so on. You know, a bunch of different stories that we end up coming across like that. And it mostly caught my attention because the last video we did dealt with basically two uncles. You know, I think one of them with the girl Ayana, it was her uncle directly. And so we just had a video where we covered that kind of stuff. And Charleston White was hitting it right on the head. That's it. That's what these kids are dealing with. And it just, you know, it caught my eye because we've been talking about this stuff. It relates to what kids are actually going through and how they are able to reach or have the resources that people think they have. You know, and obviously when kids are going through things like that with their family, stuff that they're not willing to tell their friends, it keeps them from reaching success, reaching doors that, you know, are right there in front of them. But there's so much other things going on in their life that more than likely it'll never happen. And there was another good point that goes back to what I was just talking about with, you know, gunfire and the world already being destroyed as we know it. He was saying, you know, you go over here to the white kids, they getting in trouble for selling dope, whatever. They may love rap music, they may love the drill music, but when you go over here to the little black kids, these little kids is facing murder. They actually going to jail for just doing a drive-by on another 14, 15-year-old and killing them. So they actually living this shit for the internet, just so somebody else can listen to their music about them killing two other little teens the day before. So it all goes back to that original statement about gunfire. And it's damn near being used as a tool to cleanse this world in a sense, setting the world ablaze by multiple different styles of fire. So in a sense, y'all, it all relates. You know, I was thinking of this video, you know, not trying to like hit on so many different points, when I was like, you know what, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and talk about this because it really all relates. You know, I don't like to like make videos where we like covering multiple different topics, but this is all essentially the same thing. We're talking about abuse, when we're talking about kids, saving the kids, you know, the conditions that they come from, that they live in, it all relates, y'all. One big umbrella with this topic. It covers a lot.
On the back end, they pursue these guys, but nobody was arrested on the spot.
Well, there's a story about a guy named Jarvis Butts who was with a 12-year-old. It's like a big story. And she came up missing.
I heard about that.
Yeah, last year.
He's a family member, wasn't he?
He's a family member. They uncle, niece.
One of them perverted uncles.
When you hear the stories like that, a 41-year-old, and they read the text messages in court to where, I know a lot of people probably don't remember, but back in the 90s, around 13, 14, that's when people were trying to be promiscuous. But to hear about a 41-year-old uncle messing with a 12-year-old, now she's missing, how many stories do you feel like this go on that we don't hear about?
A lot. So, man, when I was in the Texas Youth Commission, we used to have to go to therapy, to group. So it'll be 16 of us in a group, and we would have to do. So we did psychodrama therapy. We would have to do a life story, an offense cycle, and then a recidivism, right? So our life story, we would have to fill out these sheets of paper, and you go back to your earliest memory, and it would ask you questions from your earliest memory on all the way up until you committed your crime. So they got your CPS files, they got your whole life on file. So most people had to be truthful. Man, I used to sit in them group sessions, homie, and hear niggas do their life stories. And hear about them getting molested by their uncle. And hear niggas getting molested by their uncles. So one in particular, man, one of my Mexican partners from Dallas, him and his sister both will be molested by the uncle. I done heard that a lot of times, homie. And then when I grew up and started working with kids, going into the boys' home, I started finding out a lot of not just girls, a lot of guys been molested. That's where a lot of the violence come from. You start hearing about niggas when they get on death row and it's time for them to get the death penalty. And when they start trying to use mitigating factors. So you start realizing, homie, this is almost common. Yeah, this shit is almost common, homie, in our society. It's just unspoken of. So a lot of, nigga, when I was in the 8th grade, it was a whole bunch of 7th and 8th grade girls, nigga, had high school, college boyfriends, nigga. Coming picking them up in the jamming mini trucks. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, that was typical. Yeah, man, it's so, I speak a lot about that, homie. So this one thing I know, depending on who your mother and father is, it won't ever happen. A lot of women who've been molested attract molesters. A lot of women who done been molested or violated by a man attract those kind of men. Them niggas look for the kind of household who might got a weak daddy. Who most promiscuous young girls, they look for the perverted man. So if a little mannish little girl was walking by me and I see the little spirit on her, I won't even look at her. They looking for the man that's go glance at them, look him in the eye, look him up and down. Man, I ignore a little girl like that because I know what she's looking for. She's looking to be violated. It's the spirit inside of her because at some point she's already been introduced to this, whether it was a cousin hunching on her, them older hunching cousins. So typically it starts in the family, like this situation. Typically it starts in the family.
Do you feel?
Now, I really knew we were in the right place when I heard the tail end of that clip we just listened to, right? Obviously, they got into the case that we just did a video on. I did this video before I saw that interview with Charleston White. I think that page, he just put it out 2 days ago. Just for context, the guy that's interviewing him, that's the same guy from Real Life Street Stars that does the Blue Couch interviews with Jaguar Wright and so on, right? You know, I knew we were in the right direction on this video, right? This is a part we didn't really touch much on with the Jarvis Butts case and the young 12-year-old girl that he molested, he murdered, he groomed. So the part where we really didn't touch was spiritual side. We know these things start in the family. Charleston White made a very good point. You know, something we didn't bring up much. We know about the text messages. We heard them. We heard them read out loud. And he spoke about these, you know, young, promiscuous girls who have that spirit on them. It's very noticeable in young girls. You know, it's noticeable in grown women as well. They carry a certain spirit when they are looking for sex, or they have that walk. They got that aura about them. That these spirits are in men as well. We're not here to judge. We're not here to just talk about women. But y'all know when your grandma was like, oh, get away from that fast little girl. They can see that spirit. You can see it. It exudes sex in a sense. You can just see that spirit. And he said what any man should do. You walk right on past him. You don't even look at him. That spirit is wanting you to engage with it. It's looking for a perverted man, because that spirit in itself is perverted. It's perversion. That spirit is looking for the man that is willing to just engage. Just show me them eyes. Let me see if you want to do what I want you to do. And a lot of these spirits reside in a lot of these young girls and a lot of these young boys as well. And he said, which is the truth, 90% of the time it starts in the family. It doesn't come from anywhere else. It's these distant cousins. It's these uncles. It's these, boyfriends that's done been around for 10 plus years in the family. And he brought up a good point. He said these little boys are being molested too. That's where the anger come from. That's where the violence sometimes come from. And remember, I said a couple minutes ago, this is stuff they go through that they not willing to tell their friends. The little friend wonder why he always getting beat up by his other friend. He always angry. You can't never talk to him. You can't never joke with him because you scared he gonna beat you up. You 12 or 13 years old. You not really about that kind of stuff because you don't hold that kind of anger. He hold that anger from his family. He might get abused. He might get molested. They already had those spirits inside of them. And that is important as well, because they brought up the text messages. So the little girl was saying wild stuff as well. It's not to bring up the fact that, oh, this is the little girl fault and this and that. But no, when we talk about the spiritual side, that spirit in her was welcoming it. She was looking for that kind of attention from a man, from another spirit who was willing to do it. And ultimately, she ended up dead because this 41-year-old man and the spirit, the demon that resides in him, eventually won that battle. But that's exactly where this stuff comes from. It all goes back to understanding the spirit world. And that you are being led by these demons, even all the way down to little children. Everybody can relate to when their grandma told you to stay away from that fast little girl, stay away from that little boy running in the streets, doing all of this. You just never know what kind of spirits these people carry. You never know what kind of spirits these young kids carry. And often it puts these little kids in situations where their life is now over. And that demon, that spirit, that perverted spirit has now won. And it's took another soul. So I thought that was very interesting to go ahead and end this video with. As far as the topics we've been doing, it just kind of made everything come full circle. And it's a very deep topic. It's one that we can always make videos on, and it won't ever end. I guess until the consequences increase for things like this, and we don't find out about abuse or, little girls being molested and raped and killed years later, or where the punishment for these guys that's doing this kind of stuff is increased, and just calling the police and then nothing happened. And then 9 months later, he done killed his little niece who he been having sex with for 5 years. Maybe when things increase and his evil is being dealt with the proper way, will some of this stuff stop? It's definitely something to always stay on top of, always keep talking about. Hope y'all enjoyed that video, man. Let me know what y'all think about it in the comments. Y'all already know what's going on. Let me know what y'all want to see next. Hope y'all enjoying y'all weekend. And with that being said, it's Black Balloon, and I'm going to see y'all soon. I'm out.